Hi there, it's Dr. Rich Mclean. Um, I can't go to police, I can't get a lawyer, I can't be a whistleblower, and the Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet have acknowledged first there's thousands of data matches on my freedom of information from the government, the head honcho, but they refuse to admit that I exist. I've failed every attempt at my justice over the years, and I've been heinously victimised, vilified, and scapegoated. I have failed every attempt at justice. I was so systemically oppressed by the government and that exploited already existing prejudices that exist in people in society that I went to kill myself inside a hospital, and it was deemed fatal in the freedom of information from the hospital. That was 18 months ago. Just preceding that what I call murder, I'd become a vagrant. I'm a doctor of philosophy, and I was working for the NDIS as an allied health professional, and financially I became a vagrant because I'd been set up to fail. Again and again, I lost 2 VOCAT cases where I was a child sexual abuse victim, and another one where I was in a violent affray. My former partner acted via proxy, cowardly. He was an ASIO agent, and he was hiding his money and changed his ABN tax status to hide said money, and tricked me and was present at murders and all sorts of stuff. And he acted via proxy to attack me, and the movement to oppress me does act in faceless ways, and it's from people who are in conceited and arrogant, audacious amounts of privilege, and their agency to flick me off is very easy. But it's the height of cowardice, because if everyone does it, I've ended up a vagrant. So 18 months ago, my suicide attempt, which followed on from a malpractice case, which a very high-ranking lawyer framed me as an extortionist, because I was reality checking that this doctor was what he was saying. And I made a recording just for me, but I actually suicided with medication he gave me after I told him I was suicidal. But I was framed as an extortionist and set up to fail because a lawyer informs the government ombudsman and sits on the Australian legal bar, and additionally he's on this he informs government policy. So I was absolutely catastrophically character assassinated, and that was a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, which I only found out about after I literally died. I was revived from certain death after losing all of my blood and found unresponsive with no pulse, and then whisked off, filled up with someone's blood, and unceremoniously dumped from the hospital. In 10 months, I had 2 follow-up appointments with an apparent psychiatrist. One didn't work, and the next was to officially kick me off the system. The government wanting to kick me in the head, I'd been on a DSP before, and they put me on job seeker, even though I was already on sick leave from an amplified psychological injury and the trauma and stress of being categorically character assassinated and framed. And I was forced to look for work. I just survived killing myself. And then I was victim blamed for wanting to die. Everyone just moved on. I have a brain detriment now. I can't feel my feet from the blood loss, and I've got cancer, and I've got a mental illness. And then I begged for a pension, and that provided me with $1,400 a month for over a year and a half, and my rent alone is $1,646. That's without food, utilities, bills, or anything at all. Henceforth, as I've failed my income assist with HCF, which was cooked, and 18 months on, I still haven't received any work cover. And in addition to that, there was another issue, an ethical issue with the superannuation company, and that was set up to fail at the Australian Human Rights Commission, losing me over $1 million. They were supposed to be impartial, the Australian Human Rights Centre, and they free kicked it to the other team. That's not real good, not cricket. And also at Australian Financial Complaints Authority, I had overdue determinations. The own policy says a financially marginalised individual should take no longer than 4 weeks. Mine took over a year and a half. I'd begged these agencies that, to my gaslighting torture, were delaying, deferring, denying any prosperity I received for the purpose of rendering me a vagrant and aiding and abetting my death by making life so incorrigibly difficult for me in vagrancy, and by having no food, and by not having even a space to exist. Not enough money for that. They were intentionally desecrating, maiming, shaming, and extorting, and a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice has occurred. At Africa, I lost $1 to $2+ million, and I threatened to call them out. I said, this is a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. They banned me for being conspiratorial, but there is one. Anyway, so I've got other things with super companies, my former partner. I'm banned from all litigation. Can't tell you how many times I've tried to get a lawyer. They're watching me. I'm a poof. I like to root. Sometimes I do drugs. I'm, for want of a better word, a real human earth monkey with all the mistakes and the warts and all. And in addition to that, I am a feminist and a Buddhist and a human rights awarded advocate and nationally celebrated speaker who spoke for 25 years advocating for people who were more marginalised than myself. And I did it all on the smell of an oily rag out of altruism from my heart. Because I'd hurt via prejudice, stigma and shame that wasn't mine. So I went out to save the world. And this very public role that I had saw me speak from Montreal to Parliament House in Canberra to Dubbo to all the radio and TV news stations, ABC News, Triple J, Youth Networks. There was an abridged version of the autobiography I wrote about my experience with discordancy, and that was played on Life Matters with Julie McCrossan. And a short film was made on my life and art called Collected Thoughts, which really I was exploited by. I've been an artist for 30 years. I've exhibited dozens of times. But I don't exist. I've been further framed as everything from... hang on, the computer went funny. I've been framed from everything from a rapist to a pedophile to a extortionist to a dog fucker. Anything that they can see, which may be even a feigned mild paranoia of me, is amplified out the front of my window on the radio, and they're watching. I choose not to accept their gift of systemic and wide-ranging persecution that has become urban myth. If someone gives a present to you and you say, "I don't want that present at your housewarming," it's not yours to have. Where does the present go? It belongs with the person who's trying to give it. Anyway, so I'm kind of famous, and now I'm infamous, and I'm dying, and I've already died. It's too late. The world hasn't cared for me. I cared for the world, but the world didn't care for me. As a matter of fact, I've been consciously and maliciously humiliated, victimized, vilified, identified, maimed, shamed, blamed, and exonerated, oppressed, excluded. The world exploited me when I wanted to admit my vulnerabilities, and in doing so, I'm a very strong person. However, it wasn't strong enough to survive the systemic government oppression that key stakeholders underpinned, and further, that exploited already existing prejudices within humanity and society, which are an inherent part of being a mortal human. So, unwittingly, I'd waved a flag to exploit and kill me. And the deceit and the lies and the all the shame that wasn't mine, and all the blame that isn't mine to possess has been placed on me. For example, my sister Jodie says on my birthday 2 years ago, "You're a schizo and a druggo and get the fuck out of our lives." Love her, but she's a fearful person because she holds on to the other human earth monkeys and wants to be included because she has to be connected in order to have a currency that has a house and that has all the bells and whistles that I have been deceived and omitted the chance to attain. And I've been intelligently designed as a vagrant, but she's hanging on to her conscious choice to choose ignorance over a person who has always felt very direct and connected and has an agency and an authenticity with when I speak and when I communicate. That's it's too troublesome for her to acknowledge that within the framework of the conscious delusions she lives under. After all this has happened, the world has forsaken me. I'm paranoid, rightly so. I'm earthling, yes. There must arise the thing that post, if we can call it an allegorical persecution and crucifixion, a killing, and the fact that the hand of fate has put me in a position where I have to do something with the situation that I'm in, then an allegorical Christ consciousness, the narrative of it occurs. I, as of this date, what is it, 23rd of July, 2022, I'm going to be killed or jailed for a crime I haven't done or incarcerated in an insane asylum as enemy of the state. And the government having already killed me and then covered it up at a whole lot of other agencies like the Health Complaints Commissioner and the Mental Health Complaints Commissioner and the police and the Ombudsman, and condone it as nothing to see, won't take responsibility for collectively being a whole lot of public officials that each held a stick in the huge faggot that killed me and oppressed me and further covered it up. And now I've been forsaken. So in my post-death life, I have to act in a fast way that's going to because if God exists, then I'm here and you're here because of it. But I have knowledge, prior knowledge, as both a spirit having a human experience. I'm not afraid to die, and that I'm home here with the dog. There's Crystal on the bed. Crystal, she's on the bed, and I'm home wherever I am. But I do need the sustenance to keep the human monkey body going in order to act as a transformation expert, which is going to acknowledge the millions and millions and millions of dollars detriment that is due to me presently in conciliation, in workers' compensation, in super stuff, in the framing and destruction of my life, in the compensation, in the detriment that has been rejected to the highest levels in the land, and a settlement from my former partner. And to that, I request, if I die and when I die, from this date, that detriment is to be paid into a trust fund set up in my name. And before I'd been killed, I worked for 25 years, always acting in a way with my heart, which was advocating for people more marginalised than myself. And I have a proven track record that money isn't my currency. It's not. I don't even want it. But I do want safety, enough to keep the monkey body going for the time being, and protection from death threats. I've had violent criminals break in. I've had stuff stolen. I am, for all accounts and purposes, yes, a sinning, mistaken human earth monkey, a person. And, I'll get crabs. Things go wrong. But there's a divinity about the resonance with my consciousness in both a spiritual way and also in a intellectual, studied way that has examined and explored as my apprenticeship would have it in art school. Hang on, let's do it again. I studied humanity. That was my apprenticeship. I studied it, and I've got the art things going, all the art books and everything. They're unique, and they're my work. But just because you don't understand me doesn't mean that I'm either wrong or it's not an unequivocal thing. It just means that there's a communication error, and that universally the world's quite deficient in their strength of maybe what I have a strength in. Everyone has different strengths. And, some people can touch something and feel an energy. Some people have good maths. Some people can walk. Some people can hide good. Some people can hold their water. Some people piss themselves. Some people's arseholes first open. Everyone has different ways of existing and different talents. And mine has been a very solitary and unique and even cushioned one, cocooned one I studied, and then went through and studied a doctorate, and to the highest educational qualification there is. And so yeah, I'm Dr. Dick, and I've already had forewarnings, not in any spiritual way, but in my observations of life, and not only acknowledging the human earth monkey dimension, but the other dimensions, and that the one we're in and that I'm in on the screen, which is another dimension altogether, is the knee-jerk base reaction, which is quite crude, and we're familiar with it, and it's the most obvious one. And there's never an art to subtlety when you pick the most obvious one. I've tried to exist in a law with human laws. It hasn't worked out for me. So this is what I want to happen. As of this state, the detriment that is owed to me, if I'm alive or dead, is to go to a account, and my family has forsaken me. My friends have forsaken me. Society has universally abandoned me. I'm not delusional in thinking this. I've reverse engineered this ungodly oppression, which I think has a good news story. I'm not afraid to die, and I'm going to. However, the earth monkey will die, but I'm home and always home. The detriment is to be transformed, and I'm going to articulate the way it has to be transformed, and this is how it goes. It is a currency. One of my books was called Strange Currencies of Ego and Soul. Ego was hell, and soul is the divine. We are all human monkeys having we're spirits having a human experience. We often get caught up in that base fact that we're stuck here, but we're not. We're somewhere else when we go home. Now, most people are of the awareness that they're human, but the humans that exist in the here and now, and lending off the philosophy of Buddhism, I want, and it's my dying wish and my wish for today, that this detriment only provides me with enough I need to survive in a safe space. Because I want my human monkey body, and I want to enjoy my dog Crystal. She's a seventh dimension highest priestess sent to look after me, as was Steinberg, my other dog. And I would like for the voiceless and the marginalised to receive sponsorship from the trust, which will go to measurable and identifiable and quantifiable exchanges whereby we invest money in their lives and they have measurable outcome for happiness, for meaning, worth and dignity. That is my wish. And it goes from the queer to the Indigenous incarcerated, to the elderly, to the abuse survivors. It goes to the neurologically standard people, and it goes to the truth seekers, the troublemakers. It goes to the light keepers, the poets, the artists, and those creative souls that aren't a member of the Beige Brigade and keep society colourful. And that's my wish for the detriment that is owed, should I live or die, to be invested in a trust, and you have to have some expert people oversee it. Mine be here, but that is as far as I can acknowledge and articulate my existence as the human monkey half and the divine half. That is all I can do. But in that, I need immediate help. My family's not going to save me. The government's not going to save me. My friends ain't going to save me. Hear that music out there? It's an ungodly oppression. Anyway, if you could invest money just to see me through, have some human dignity and worth, because I am a human, mostly, the earth monkey part, and I don't have enough food. I don't have medical care. I don't have value put on me. I don't have worth. I'm universally scapegoated and fucking nuclear character assassinated. I'm in disbelief. I'm just some dude, Anyway, I'm on the run from the fucking fuzz, from the psych ward, because they're going to lock me up and incarcerate me, and they're going to, as I have been, which is why I talk funny, my lips dropped, force medicate me with mind-numbing drugs, antipsychotics, for my, what? For my mental illness and my delusions of persecution. I can only say so many times that this exploits already existing vulnerabilities, and that in myself, I'm divine and authentic, and in my earth monkey mind, I've had to learn. For all the people I've hurt, I'm sorry. If I've caused you any distress, harm, or anything through confusions, that were conscious or unconscious, or whether I meant them or whether I didn't. I'm sorry. And for a world that's forsaken me, I love people, and I always have. But it's very sad to have the acute knowledge that average everyday Joe is conceited to believe liberal and slander and fit with the gang. They don't have a forward knowledge of the end times or the great saddening that's coming, and it's going to be beyond imaginable hell on earth. And but what we can do right now is to acknowledge in a very physical, rudimentary, practical and real way that this detriment that I'm expecting to have as sufferance for my existence and then being forsaken for will be transformed almost immediately and with purpose, intelligence, conscious and loving to enhance enjoyment, advance love, and to create meaning for marginalised people and for people who deserve a second chance and for the voiceless. And that is my wish. Has anyone got a smacko for the dog?